Okay, here I am in a new YouTube stream. The last one has ended, and let's just start over. So give everybody a second to come on in. And I better paste the link over to Discord. Haha, I restarted it at the right moment. Oh my gosh, what an annoying thing. I'm so sorry about that, everybody. Maybe it's time to stop using Restream and just go direct to YouTube and cut out the garbage that's getting in the way. Yeah, Ben, I hope that that was useful for you on the Pharisee mix. I guess the bass line is okay, but some of the melody notes that are in the synths were conflicting with the bass line notes. So play around with that and give us some notes on it and see what you can do. And yeah, Maxime, this is a great vibe. I'm just gonna listen to this and get into it. A little more volume. Nice. That vocal's working. Nice slow build too. That's how you do it. You hint at where the verse is going to be and then don't play the verse. Also noticing the synth texture is kind of buzzy like the vocal is a little bit. I'm not hearing any mixed notes at all. This is sounding really good. So let's check out how the flow goes through the sections. Nice stereo width too. I'm really feeling the synths are like stacked up on the sides. And the vocals like in this middle space. Lyrically, notice we went into a breakdown on the word promised land. Take you to the promised land. lyrics take you to another place, music going to another place. Good alignment. That's really easy to miss, but it's super important to find stuff in the lyrics that match the events in the music. I like that. Ooh. All right. I got to point out, Maxine Mark Troy just went into a pitch shift madness to deal with the whole breakdown section. The question is, what do you do in the breakdown to make it interesting, to make a riser, to make a build up, to lead back to the drop? And he got into this pitch shift. It was just a chromatic half step up and down that aligned perfectly with the bass notes. And we went into this like other space where it's like the track's going. I kind of felt like it was like, if you're on the floor is like it's going up and then it's going down. Like you're on a boat, it's like going up and down. I want to play that again. My favorite thing is analyzing transitions and figuring out what is going on inside them. So I think it picked up around here. And again, we had a synth from in the track start growing and turn into something new. That's always interesting. Nice reverb. Watch this note pitch. Centered, down, centered, and then the beat comes in, and that pitch thing stops. That was cool. Goosebumps, yeah. Yeah, last week Amazon was down and stuff too. There's some, I don't know, cyber war going on. 505. This is what I like the most about your treatment, is that you give us a nice section of lyrics so we know that it's like the remix in the song, but then you take it really nice and deep and give like a dance block where we can just be in the music. I think that's the art of the remix. Knowing what to use and what to cut out, right? Okay, thank you. So three synths playing the same thing, one with a pitch bend. That was interesting. You don't hear that a lot done well. That was good. Man, the mid-range is so buttery. The vocal is right there with the synths, and they're all like in a nice layer together. I'm gonna try something. Cut the highs, cut the lows. When I cut the highs and lows like that, I'm listening just to the mids to hear, can we hear everything and still feel like it's balanced? That snare, so clear. I kind of see the snare poking up around 2.5K. That's a really good zone for snare drums. And Ben Hunt, play this track on your speakers to get a sense of what the kick drum feels like compared to your music. Because this one just feels like it has the low end of the kick in the right proportion to the synth stack. In other words, if you're not confident about your speaker system, use reference mixes. I know you know that. Okay, now I'm going to make a voodoo doll of a Bitcoin and sacrifice it to the gods of YouTube for the next track. Maxime, that's great, man. I don't think I had a single comment. it sounds done. It sounds great. Like the flow was good, the format, the length, the events of the track. Like how does it come into it? How do you get out of it? Yeah, subtle but effective and big. Yeah. I'm not sure if I might have missed any comments, but seriously, man, that's a beautiful mix and it all sounds good. Sorry, it's not maybe useful comments for you, but for other people can learn a couple things. Now, another remix of the same track. This one coming from Danats, Down Under. Got EQ's flat. Right off, there's the Danats bouncy staccato style. Classy. Nice effects, Adam. Good space. Where is Morton today anyway? Missing the Mindbender and OSP. What about Shepherd's and Pivclit? All right, Danats, nice percussion coming in. I like the effects a lot too. This one does not feel as dry as your other. Feels like it has more like spacious effects. Okay, so Mark Troy is gonna make one more mix. Clean it up even more. This is great. The composition here, like we keep getting a new percussion layer every little while. I didn't count the bars, it might be 8 bars. But it keeps it kind of bouncing. Danats has such a bouncy style. It's like Blinky. That's a vocal. This is cracking now. I can feel the voice, the texture of the voice, so I know it's that guy, but he's not saying a word. It's just like, ugh. Beats are sounding good, mix is sounding good. Instant Danats. Oh, and Maxime, Mark Troy, you got a release coming up on the 24th. Drop a little link in there, because I know that's happening. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. Do we get... Oh, good. Okay. Why did I skip forward? I started to feel like it was going on a long time and there wasn't a lot changing. And I was wondering, are we going to get an actual vocal or a significant song change or something like that? And then I noticed we went into this other part. So the part that was getting repetitive, this is great because that pattern stops. It goes into a delay and gives us like a break from it. So we get a rest. We can groove into the deeper part, which is important because you don't want to rinse out your own samples of the track. All right, breaking it down to bass and drums. Danats is making a dub mix in here. Listen to this. I like it. Heavy bottom, crisp beats, mid-range. Has a couple little things happening. Let's hear how we get to vocals could go up a little bit. Yeah. Danats has such an interesting concept of bass lines. It's a bass line made from a really low frequency, chopped up sound. It's just like rhythmic, low frequency texture. It's not even like notes or pitch or melody or anything. That's interesting. Ooh, right here. Okay, so in general, this gets a little bit sampley, where I feel like we're hearing the same sample a lot in the same placement for the whole part of the track. That sound, it's here, it's here, it's there. I love it around 3:45 when that sound stops and we go into empty space. And then it starts coming back. And it has a lot of cool effects on it, but the sound texture is the same. So a really quick thing I would like you to do with that is put a low pass filter on that, whatever that sound is coming from, like 2 samples or a loop or whatever, and sweep the low pass filter down and back up, not down enough to make the sound disappear, but to make it noticeable. Now, if you don't want a low pass shape cutting the top end off, you could use auto filter and put a band pass filter on there, making the band pass shape a band pass filter with some resonance. Sweep the filter and, put the resonance up enough that you can notice there's a filter moving, and sweep it like through the track. And because your style is so jumpy, you might want to automate the filter frequency with an LFO that's on like a square wave going on like quarter notes. So and have like that. I'm trying to describe the sound so that the filter motion is synced to the choppiness of the beats rhythmically. And then that one sound that's going will have like a filter motion moving it around. So it's not just the same exact thing for 5 minutes in the track, because it's a cool sound and rhythmically it works really well. Frequency wise, it works in the mix. It's just that we hear it a lot through the whole track. And if you could add some variation to that with a filter, I think it would help make it more interesting so you don't have to like rebuild your whole track. Oliver's not here, and I think we did this track on Wednesday, OSP Chaos. So yeah, people are saying, oh, great outro. That's a good point. Yeah. The only thing I'd add here would be a shaker on the second half of each measure. Add to the shuffle vibe. That is a cool comment, Scott Burke. So for Danats, add a shaker, so a percussion layer where maybe you start filtering that loop more intensively, and add a shaker. And outro, repetitive, missing some evolving. Okay, so speaking of Scott Burke, so we got Scott Burke, Randy Adams, Sheppers, Stevenos, and I got DJ Waters on QuickTime. And I know QuickTime should not glitch, but Scott, thanks for putting this track in. Let me bring the master down, EQ flat, here we go. Clean bass, look at that. This one has a nice space around it already. Oh, those drum breaks are so good. They're so loud and crisp. Ticka-ticka.
Hey, what you trying to do with all that? I got a good idea, come sit it on my lap.
Yes, man. I'm feeling like I want some more kick drum here. I'm gonna take off the bottom EQ, but the bass line is louder than the kick drum, and the kick is not throbbing. And this has the energy where the kick drum should be like a mind eraser, like poof, poof, like like not a long duration, but a strong hit, right? Like if somebody does a chest pass with a bowling ball, you're like, oh. I like it. I like it. All the mid-range sounds at space and everything are really beautiful on this. It's so big. It's like all these mid-range sounds have high frequency and they're bright, you know? A little more master level for me.
I got a good idea, come sit it on my lap. Hey, what you tryna do with all that? I got a good idea, you should sit it on my lap.
It's always nice when you can tell people to bring the kick drum up louder, because that's like a fun edit to make, and it's like, yeah. What is happening now? Down, 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 down. 1.3K. Yeah, around 1.5, it can be a little bit ringing, so you might want to go and just like put a little EQ dip around 1.5 or something, because that bell sound is great, but don't let it build up too much in that mid section. Not a crisis, but hi-hat's so bright. Man, you're cranking out a pretty solid track for being busy and traveling and the holidays and everything. This is gonna be, this reminds me of like a Felix the House Cat track that I had in like 2002. Just like dirty bass line. Oh, there we go. All right, so when your kick drum is crushing it like that, we basically got to go to your bass line and carve out a little EQ space to make room for the kick, and that sub-woom. I think pitch shifting is the theme of the day. That bass line is cool. Keep that one nice and loud so the kick has space underneath it. Right here is good. I think the sub bass line is going to be the one that gets muffly, right? This shit's going to be ridiculous.
I got a good idea, come sit it on my lap. Hey, what you tryna do with all that? I got a good idea, you should sit it on my lap.
Yeah, so whatever kind of sub bass thing came in right here at 520 is taking away the feeling of the kick being a big clear hit. This right here is crazy, man. I'm gonna give it a little high end just because of the SoundCloud compression. This synth is like totally taking me, man. Almost like a fire truck. The way you're working with that vocal is almost like what Maxime was doing in the remix in the last track. Crisp, bright in the high mids and loud, and just like fresh, right? Really feels good.
Come sit it on my lap.
Yeah, something over here with the sub bass and kick drum are on top of each other.
I got a good idea, come sit it on my lap.
Serum, all right.
Come sit it on my lap. Come sit it on my lap.
Man, all right, one more time. Back here. I want to hear where the bass line is together with the kick and then the kick goes alone. So that sub thing. There was a sub and kick together right here, right? Is there like a low sub bass underneath the kick there? That guy right there. Like 46 hertz, yeah, okay. And how the hell did you think of this part? It's like slowing you down and like moving your head around. And this part right here, actually, this one bass line with the kick drum might even be enough, right? Because right here it's like pretty complete. If I just crank the low, that shit sounds pretty solid.
Got a good idea, come sit it on my lap. Hey, what you trying to do with all that? I got a good idea, you just sit it on my lap.
Oops. You know what to do. What a cool, oh my God. It's like totally outside the world of music theory and chords and tonality and everything. It's just like, meow, meow. That's how I imagine DJ Waters driving a car, like, meow, meow. I'm teasing you because I'm going to play your track now. Oh, we got Randy Adams too, and Shepherds, but I want to take a DJ Waters detour. Oh, Scott, thank you. Okay, so when it drops, I add the sub back in on the driving bass line. Yeah, there's a new sub that comes during the break. Okay. 52 hertz, yeah. Well, maybe sidechain your sub harder and get your kick coming through. Like have your kick drum, make sure your kick drum has a short tail and a short duration. So the kick drum can be just louder relative to the sub and keep everything the same. So maybe don't remove the sub entirely, but short duration kick drum, louder kick drum, quieter sub a little bit, and then sidechain the sub, and then possibly take the dominant, like the main peak of the kick frequency and notch that out of the sub bass. So you have like a couple layers of interaction with frequency, tone, and dynamics to get the kick and sub working together. Because all we really need is the low end to just feel like it's like really smacking in your midsection. It can be low and deep and big all there. All right, we're gonna go through some DJ Waters and then finish it off with Randy Adams and Shepherds. So EQ back to flat. Oh my God, don't let me. And let's see, we got back to the beginning. Thanks for sending me the wave file.
Cocaine.
I didn't know what was gonna happen.
I opened it up and
Pitch shift again, you guys.
Cocaine.
Ecstasy.
All right, good. I didn't move the master channel yet. Oh my God.
Shrooms, LSD,
Ecstasy.
cocaine.
Back home again.
Ecstasy.
Okay, a minute 30, some of that high frequency was a little too much. Oh, just Coca Loca. Oh my God, are we gonna get taken down because of that? Great. Here's a recipe for your holiday cocoa.
Ecstasy.
Is YouTube, do you guys see the captions? Is it like auto captioning this and being like, all right.
Thousands of people are doing it.
Shrooms, LSD,
Ecstasy.
This kick drum. Right at 2 minutes. Wait.
People are doing it.
shrooms, LSD,
Ecstasy.
Those 4, right at 2 minutes. Out of control. Yeah, where's the 1? No, no. Okay, this part, watch the high frequencies. Gotta take those down. Yes. Oh, that buzzing is so good.
Ecstasy.
That's interesting. Let me pause for a second. So there's parts where we have this like low rumble just going like whoa, 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 whoa. That's deep and it's full, right? Kind of like the rumble techno kind of thing. And then these moments where a super bright kick comes in that's even way louder than all that. So what I want to know is, yeah, so many layers to get the sounds you want. Like, are you compressing this master mix? Where are you putting your compression and limiters? And how many are you using? I'm imagining they're like on the sample layer and on a bunch of different places because like, so the thing that I'm saying, when I'm getting that rumble feeling of like, woo, 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 and then the kick comes, boop, boop, boop. It's like a mix getting totally smashed into a limiter and whatever is the loudest thing is at your face first. And then when it goes away, everything else is loud. And then the average is that it's all just kind of like bubbling up at a high level. I'm gonna go back just a little bit and play, just listen to this like low end part where it's all the way down to the 40s. And then that kick comes through and it's like pop, pop, pop. And it's like so bright. There's the rumble. And those kicks. So when the rumble thing is happening and the kick is missing, watch from about 70 hertz up to about 300. You could see like in that zone, it's a little bit scooped out. And then when those super like crisp kicks come in, there's a little bump right there and that whole midsection fills up. Check that out. You can actually see it.
Ecstasy.
Yeah, Maxime, I agree. The rumble does have a lot of sub. How do we end this track?
drugs may be an important tool sending us on a mind-altering trip.
It's like traveling.
All right, those little sound effects going, whoa, 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 whoa. That needs to be louder.
It's been an incredible journey. Share it with your friends and family.
Oh, you cut off the reverb on the tail. Those little whoop, 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 need to be a little louder on top of the beats. I like the mix a lot, and I think the sub maybe up to 45 or 50 hertz. You don't want to have too much more like low, low, low below that. it does get a little flubby in here. Like that stuff down below there at the bottom. Watch out for that.
Ecstasy.
Cool. The kicks are loud, euphoric, French core, 2 to be above, everything else. High range, low end. Yeah. Nice job, man. So that's version 2. What else are you planning on doing with this? It's just 4 minutes or so. And again, my favorite DJ Waters comment is I started it off, press play, left my master channel at the same level. And when we got to the peak of everything happening, it still felt good. So that was cool. This one felt like it was a lot more of a continuous thrasher without like the long midsection or distractions or other visits in the middle. And vocals are well mixed on top, clearly delivering the message of the lyrics. Cool. Tell me if this feedback is helping. I know we tease each other a lot. I love your tracks. It's super fun. And family dinner with the Waters, yeah. And I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to help you out with other details. Like I can just report on what I hear, what I feel, how it sounds, and how it compares to progress from last time. I guess that's useful. So keep it up, man. Bring us another mix. And for everybody else listening, just technically, listen to the end of this.
Incredible journey. Share it with your friends and family.
The sound went up, the reverb had a tail, and then the track stopped. Make it a discipline when you're recording or even exporting a mix. Wherever the last sound is, play the timeline, listen, watch your meters, wait for the reverbs to die down, wait for every meter to die down, and then count to 5, and then drag your loop brace to the end of that section. So whenever you render a mix, the full tails are decaying all the way to silence. And then during mastering, if you have to chop off 2 seconds or even 10 seconds, it doesn't matter. It's just digital. It doesn't cost you tape. But the problem is if you cut off your reverb tails, this might be only version 2, but this could end up being a playable mix that could get mastered and released. And then you're missing the ending tail and it's like not quite as pro. And that could even be a reason for somebody to be like, oh yeah, bring it back and fix it. And then what do you got to open your session again? And what if you can't recreate your session? What if you did something that you're like, I don't know how to make it as good as version 2. Now I have a great reverb tail, but version 3 sounds stupid. Guess what? Has this happened to me? Yes. So just in terms of technical recording discipline, make sure you leave space at the end of your export. Even if you think it's a test mix, you never know when it's going to be something good enough to keep. I think I just heard a weird beep. And it'll make your production better. So Randy Adams, thanks for getting your track in early today. I really appreciate that. EQ flat. Oh, and then Ian, yes, the one tip I wanted to say was there's a couple places where like around that 3.5 kilohertz or 4,000 hertz range, there were a couple spots I had to dip the EQ down with kind of a wide Q, and just to take it down so it doesn't have that tinny like staticky scratching. Oh, that's the floor. Jesus Christ, I'm hearing stuff. Okay, EQ flat, master levels down, and Randy Adams. Sorry. Man, right off, the kick drum and that bass line sound are really nicely working together. And that organ, I think, is a little dry. I can hear a tight reverb, but I think the reverb could be a longer tail. Let it, like let that chord, like launch and kind of fill up, like a reverb bloom, they call it, like a bloom. Nice texture. Feels all soft and deep. Definitely got that working. Really nice low end mix. And the reason I say that is because you can identify like the rhythm of the bass notes. They're not all mushed together. You actually get each one. which gives you the like rhythm. Ooh, the little taps. I like those drums. Pitching the vocal. Call and response on the pianos. Okay, the new organ is overlapping the original one a little too much. At this point, I would like the first one to stop because the second one is doing a complete cycle. And the first one isn't fitting with the last notes of the second one. Yeah. This organ sound is complete by itself. It's good right here. It's a little high-end lift for me. I love those snare taps. Yeah, are we getting a clap in here? Nice. I think that clap could even be louder. Yeah, that clap could be louder. And that open hi-hat is like pulls you into the clap. It's great. I like the jingle in the percussion too, like ding, 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 which I believe is around 5.17 kilohertz. Yes, subtle and groovy for sure. All right, I'm feeling like we're probably going to be okay to the end. I want to go back to the place where the first organ sound had a clash with the second organ sound. Let's just explore that. Okay, I could understand you if you're not a fan of the loud clap. Sure. out that little vocal thing. I noticed that the vocal is not exactly in with the chord thing, but it doesn't bother me. Didn't really feel like a problem exactly. But what I want to identify, okay, chord. Let's call that keyboard 1. When keyboard 2 comes in, they sort of crossed a little bit. Now, keyboard 2 is super cool. Keyboard 2 by itself is this pattern. At that part, it works all together. Boom, 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 boom. But here in the earlier part, the first time we hear it, it's sort of like, yeah. I like it at this part where keyboard 2 is by itself, keyboard 1 is not there. I don't think they have to be on top of each other. And also that little vocal thing together with all those two keyboard parts made it sort of like too much happening at the same time, and they weren't super harmonically locked in. So maybe you could just simplify that bit. Put them on the downbeat. Cool, man. Great vibe, and right away again from the very beginning, that low end. Dun, 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 dun. It's like you could taste every bass note. Boom, 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 boom. That's super good. That's like one of those patches where it's like a minor seventh chord down, boom, 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 in the synth patch, and the first one. I'm seeing B and F sharp, so maybe in B minor. It feels like, so when we're in the middle of the track and those two synth layers are happening at the same time, it feels like each one of them is actually a complete chord. We hear it kind of as a note, but it's got all this chordal stuff in there. And when they're on top of each other, the chords are moving around and clashing a little bit or something. Oh, Scott Burke, gotta go. Hey, thanks for popping in from Palm Springs. Oh, the pool, the desert sun, get a suntan on your toe. So Randy, can you tell us what chords what are you doing with those synths? Are you playing chords on the piano keyboard, or did you pick out synths that have like the one note chord with the like the house chord synth part or something like that? Because we're getting a little bit into music theory of which notes are clashing exactly during the chord progressions. And the simple answer would be to just have, in the opening part of the song, have the first patch playing, the first chord pattern playing, and then after about 2 minutes 30, have the second chord part take over and play. And I think that would be enough because the track has a really nice, like, smooth feel. It would be okay to go from one chord keyboard part to the other one and not have them both at the same time. Like when they're both at the same time, it's not really making it better. And it would be okay to have them just one here and the other one there, not have them overlap. And I think that would solve the problem. But it's up to you. Maybe the LFO with push. Oh, with push. Cool. Yeah. So in general, for anybody watching, it's easy to add a lot of stuff and have each part sound cool. But then later when you put them all together, they sort of pull in different directions, almost like they're competing for your attention. So sometimes the solution is just to simplify the layers, present them one at a time, and make them sound really good by themselves. And that's enough. If your bass and groove are tight like this is, and your beats are cool, and the vibe is good, it's enough to have one amazing sound. It's almost like if you bought a new Wurlitzer electric piano and mic'd it and you bought great mics and got really into the sound. And you're like, I just want to hear this keyboard by itself. I don't need 3 other synth layers to make it sound good because it's like quality sound. It's a bit like that. So don't be afraid to show off one sound, have it sound amazing. And remember my first observation was the keyboard 1 came in, and I was like, oh, could you make the reverb bigger and have that one just like blossom with a big reverb? It hangs in space, fills up the track, keeps us in that vibe. And that's enough, you know? That's how I would approach that. Mark Troy, detuning synth. You can play the same note. I think it works, but it actually sounds note right. Yes, no, yeah. But Randy, dude, that is a beautiful track, and it sounds 99% ready to go. So please bring that back again on Wednesday at 11:45 a.m. And Sheppers, we got Stevenos, and I got a track to play at the end. So Shepard is going into techno world, EQ normalized, flat EQ. And let's bring this in. Shepard, you still here? Grinding you up in the grinder. 2 hours, damn. Did you make this today or just upload it? Yeah, a little more reverb on the first synth, Randy, yeah. This one feels a little boomy. Feels like the mid-range is not as much of a buzz and grind, but let's see what else happens. I'm gonna try something and take the low EQ down a little bit and raise the volume to just get more of the mids. Get more of that fullness in the, yeah. There's one thing you're really good at is that grinding, buzzing texture of the mid-range. I like that high frequency percussion, very ticky. Come back and do that break again. I want to explore what happened in there. DJ Waters, what I did was I took the low end down. I got just a 3-band EQ. I took the lows down, raised the volume on the whole track so we get more of the mid-range. We still feel the low end, but it's not like all bumpy bass. This is great. Always changing, new stuff happening. Nice and crisp on the top end too. Ah, yes. One more time. Check that out. It sounded like an electrical component burning out and fizzling, like, and then it comes back in. These transitions, if you could tell us, Shepherds, what are you thinking when you make that transition? Like, I don't know, it's not a drum break, it's not a fill, it's not a riser, it's not anything. It's just like a sonic like glitch that does all the things of a transition, where it's like the end of one section, drawing your attention, a little bit of silence, doing something new, and then back into the beat. But you're doing it with some like totally creative, weird, broken, smashed up sound. Let's play it one more time. That makes me happy. I don't know how you do it, but it sounds good. Are those some voices in there? Totally draws you in. All right, that was good. Let me pull out another little detail. So right before this, we had something like weird voices or something that was like in the kind of mid-range going shwa wah wah. And then I started to feel like it was a little repetitive. Right around that moment, the sound went up into a reverb and got removed from the mix. And it sounded really good. So let's just listen to how that happened. Shwa, 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 right? Listen to that top sound. Right there, it goes up into a reverb, and we're left with like the low down, dirty bass part at the bottom. With some other cool mid-range stuff. That's a great technique. Okay, sometimes with samples or you record something, yeah. One of my favorite techniques is just to open up a new audio channel, take one of the sounds, record, like resampling, you know, basically tweak one sound to record the audio output of that, and then chop up the resampled one to do as like glitches or something. And the rumble. Dig-a-ding, 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 dig-a-ding. Yeah, man. Whew. Super solid. I agree. The break. These are the breaks. One more time. What did he do here? Why did it work? Cut the kick. That was a fade down of the kick. The riser went up into the reverb. That was interesting. So instead of just cutting the kick drum, he faded it down. Went boo, 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 boo. So the volume was reducing. That's kind of pushing far away. There was a kind of a riser effect, but instead of having it go all the way to the next drop, the riser went up, went into a reverb, and then this other sound came in that was like shwah, shwah, shwah. I don't know how to describe it. And that took over, went into the drop. So that's three things you could do in your own track. If you wanted to have a build up like this, or you're doing some hard beats, get to the breakdown section, define how big it's going to be. We're going to count it. fade down the kick drum, throw a riser that goes up into reverb and then stops. And then out of that reverb comes the synth that's going to be dominant in the next section here. I want to count this to just see what duration of time did that take. We'll go back a little bit more. And it's only 1:30, so I'm not sure where the 1 beat is. Okay. I got a 1 off that. On 3, 4. Yeah. So it's basically an 8-bar breakdown. It's hard to count those when the kick drum fades because you don't know where it stops. But I started counting off this one little tick sound. Actually, I first started counting. There was the ride cymbal. I could sort of tell when the ride ended, and then 8 bars after that there was a little tick thing, and then 8 bars, and then the fade, and then it came back in. So just deconstructing how to count from 1 to 8, and then your tracks will sound delicious. Mid-range groove is polyrhythmic. Yeah. That's great, man. Shepherds, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And the biggest thing that I did right away from the very beginning was, so I got a 3-band EQ, sweepable mid-range. And I noticed at the beginning, the kick drum was like really big and the rest of the track was grinding and buzzing. And because we've been listening to Shepherds for a while, I sort of knew what his normal tracks are going to sound like when they're done. And so I wanted more mid-range. My first reaction was not to boost the mid-range EQ because that doesn't really get to where you want. What I did was I cut the low end a bit with a shelf EQ, so the whole low end came lower, and then I raised the volume of the whole track, which is kind of like saying I took a really wide band mid-range EQ and turned up the whole mid-range. You see what I'm saying? Boosting the mid-range is like turning up the volume, but with a mid-range EQ, you're only going to get you only get like a hump in the middle, which will be kind of unbalanced. It'll be like boosting like not enough of the mid-range, and I wanted to get basically the whole track louder without so much of the kick. So that's a good trick to sort of help you think about subtractive EQ and boosting with EQ. A lot of times when your track is not sounding right, the best thing to do is cut something that's too big and then just raise the volume of the rest. And then you could do that on one channel. If you have like, let's say you have a kick drum with too much of like a click on the top and you want more bottom, you don't have to automatically go and jack up the low EQ. You can say, oh, I don't want the whole click on there. Take a filter, cut out the high frequencies, and then just raise the volume, and you get more of all the part that you want instead of just exaggerating one low frequency and then missing the mid-range or something. Where at was that shelf? 60 hertz. This is a Soundcraft mixer with a 60 hertz low shelf EQ. So that was that, and then probably around 900 or 1,000, I did a little bit of a mid-range boost to get all that buzzy, grindy stuff up a little bit louder. And the high shelf is 12 kilohertz. And I did a little high shelf boost because of kind of the SoundCloud roll off to get the nice top end nice and crispy. So if that helps you with those numbers, I charge $1 per cycle per second. I'm kidding. A couple more tracks, 130. Remember when we used to do a 2-hour stream with no glitches or ads? When was that? Back when the dinosaurs walked the earth. Stevenos, reset my EQ, check master level. And thanks so much for hanging out and coming over to the new stream with me. I'm sorry it got glitchy and everything. Instead of my normal bike ride today, I think I'm going to go and cancel restream. All right, got the hats and claps coming in. Get this master level up. feels nice. Nice mix-in section working. Shepherds, you're welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Really good job. And I agree, you're making all the right moves, making tons of progress. Ooh, too much mid-range. That was a little bit bright. Right there. 600 up to 1,000. Too bright. So I'm taking that down. This bass line sounds nice and gooey though. I'm feeling like the kick drum lost its flavor when that bass line came in deep. The bass line that was coming down with a high pass filter getting lower, that felt really good. Let me pause here. When we first heard the bass line coming in, it was buzzy. There was like a high pass filter cutting off all the bottom of it, and it was like coming down from the top, and it sounded really buzzy and cool, and I was hoping it was going to stay like that. Later, it dropped in as a sub bass sound, but the sub was too loud, kind of overpowering the kick, and we lost all the mid-range fun sound. This, all that mid-range that part was really important. I would like that to keep happening when the bass line drops and add a sub frequency. This would be a good place to split the bass line. So you have two channels where that upper one that's nice and buzzy, have that be like, stereo position with a reverb on it, nice and cool and like up on top, and then add a separate sub bass to fill in with the kick drum where you could detail mix that other one, do different compression, different side chaining, and really get it dialed in so we keep the strength of the kick drum. Because at the beginning, kick drum is dope. Right there working. Oh, Paul, thanks, man. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry you gotta go. Doing handicrafts. Put up some photos. I want to see what you're doing. Maxime, thanks for hanging out. Really good job, man. Beautiful music. So this bass line right here, the way it is at like 47 seconds, I would like the bass line to stay like that and then add a sub also. What happens is, right there at 57, that bass sounds so good. Now it's like too much sub and we don't have the mid-range part of the bass line, but that illustrates it. And that mid-range stab thing is like too metallic. I'm gonna cut the... It's surprising how much around 1,000 or 1.5 kilohertz can be great in one sound and too much in another sound. So for that stab, that mid-range stuff is a little too loud. These are cool sounds. I like this. Delay and reverb sounded great. Hear that riser coming in? Okay, that riser could be a little louder, a little more high frequency. And 301, not a bad place to drop a crash, little to announce that drop coming through. That sound is great. Gonna get some hi-hats? Yes. Yeah, if you tighten up the sub bass and get the kick drum a little bigger and the sub bass a little bit down, this is gonna be perfect. Those beats are awesome. Hi-hats and claps, doing what you gotta do. And can you bring back that opening bass line? I hate to pause the tracks, but the bass texture from right here at like 57 seconds, that really buzzy mid-range bass, if we had that back again over here, it's more like squiggly, like fuzzy, kind of like square wavy, kind of. Ooh, bata, bata. Get those congas louder. I would put those into the delay too. A little snippet of drum loop, make it louder, throw it in the delay. Why not? Put all those into the delay. That little, that, put that in the delay. Make it just. Oh, this is cool. So it's kind of an empty mix. I can see arrangement preview. There's a couple things you could do. That's a cool track. So the sound design is really strong in this one. The little like pew 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 with the delay and the reverb is fun to listen to. It keeps it exciting, keeps it moving. A few mixed notes about the riser and the build up. That white, could be a little louder. But the main thing is that this bass line is so freaking cool. Right here. All that mid-range bass line. I really think the track would be better with that as a second layer of bass on top of everything else. Boy, Matt. No, I'm not sure who you're asking. That's from Stevenos, who's, I don't think, on the stream right now. So I'm going to play a track I've been working on that I was doing a live workshop with yesterday. I did a song structure workshop on how I built the song form in Session View. This is an 8-minute dub because I was talking while I recorded it, but I want to play through it and let's see what we get. That's EQ flat, playing out of QuickTime. I think I gotta take my master down a little bit after the last track. To go with the theme of frequency shifting for today. Right away, I think there might be a little too much reverb on the opening. You guys think so? Didn't notice that this morning when I just exported it this morning, but feels like that's too much bass reverb. Which means the bass feels far away. I want that bass line sound. More up front, less reverb, louder on the bass sound. Boy, Matt, thank you. I'm glad you like it. Are you in Discord with us? I'm not sure what your name is. Yeah, that 160, that baseline thing, I got to do a little less reverb on that and work with that a bit. By the way, I haven't really done a mix session on this. I've done sound design and then song structure, and I kind of mixed levels and did some compression, but I haven't. How about 195 Shepherds if you're saying 160? 195, pretty close, man. Could somebody drop the Discord link in the chat? Maybe I can. I like it better when that mid-range bass drops out, actually. Got the synth popping up right there. Ooh, I got some flames from Caesar, thank you. I'm happy with the kick drum and the beats. It has that nice... And I like that filter moving in the bass line, but that bass line mix is not right. So. Really helps a lot to actually listen to a bunch of other people's tracks and then play my track right away and be like, oh my god, what the hell was I thinking? Huh. Did you hear that? There was one cymbal crash right there, but... Was that a mistake? That one cymbal by itself sounded like a mistake, like the 909 was going to kick in, but it didn't. Gotta check that out. Ooh. New little layer of hi-hats came in. You feel that? With that little skip? That makes it so fun to dance to. Shepard is a little more punch on the kick. Okay. Put that in for the mix session. What do you guys think of that little bell, like the lead that's just like boop, boop, boop? Because I didn't really have a plan with that. I just took a full length and jammed a little bit on push and got some like little random bell notes. Am I a full-time producer? I don't know how to answer that. I used to be a full-time DJ paying the rent with DJ gigs and making original tracks and playing shows. Now I'm basically a full-time online teacher since the shutdown. I used to do live sound. All the gigs got canceled and I just kind of stopped doing that. So Mixitecture is what I do full-time. I make online lessons and do workshops and put together project packs and lessons you could download to play with the songs and kind of learn by doing it. And that's what I'm doing. That like opening lead is coming back. Nice round kind of stereo motion. Okay, 6:20. Now it feels like we're heading into the ending part of the track. Let's see what happens. Feels a little bit like the beats got kind of repetitive here. I think I got to change those beats up at the ending section. Because now it's just like, okay, we're still in the same beat. So while we're at the ending of this track, I might as well screen share for the end the Mixitecture members site, and that's going to need to be bigger. So for anybody still watching the replay, hanging out with us, thanks so much for being part of Mixitecture and chilling with track feedback. Ah, the mix out. So the Mixitecture members site has a whole bunch of stuff for you to explore to upgrade your Ableton skills. To start off with, if you're new here, you can check out the intro to session lessons where you can see what my hands-on tutorials are all about. I build the lessons inside Ableton Live. Nobody else is really doing this. You download an Ableton project, and when you open it up, you get instructions, activities, and examples with automation inside the project, which makes it really easy to play with the sounds and learn by doing it instead of only watching on YouTube. I just started these new project packs where you can download the actual Ableton project from a song I'm working on. In this case, it's the song we just heard. And there's a workshop with sound design where I talk about automation with those sounds to make that stereo panning action with the lead. And then I do some did another workshop with the song structure in Session View, where I show you how I use scenes to create intro, build up, drop, ending. And then once I have all those scenes laid out, then I play them like a live jam and record it into the arrangement to get the full length track. And then the next step is to do the mix. So next Friday, we're going to do the mix. What you get is a live pack with the tracks, clips, sounds, everything from the workshop. Requires Live 11 for this one. So if you don't have that, you know, that's what it is. But you can grab this project pack and actually play with this track 125 BPM. Another couple cool things I want to point out. It is holiday season and everything is on discount for holidays. So when you click the buy now button, you type in holiday, and you get a 20% off discount just for being here, just for being part of Mixitecture. And these are some really, really good courses. I put a lot of time into building these. Basic Mixing with Ableton Live takes you through the process of gain staging, creating stereo groups, using effects, using channel strips like compression, EQ, filters, limiter, compression as a group and an individual channel to end up with a stereo mix that sounds loud and clear and crisp on the high end and drops tight, focused, low end bass on the bottom, which is what it's all about. And it's a really pretty well developed course. It goes through a bunch of modules, and each module is a separate Ableton project that you open up and follow along inside to learn about measuring your levels and learn about making a stereo mix with, you know, which sounds do you pan, which ones do you keep in the middle, and why, and how do those relate to stereo groups in Module 3. Module 4, working with everything coming into the master channel. We're applying the same principles of audio engineering that apply anywhere in the world, from recording with mics, working on analog hardware, using a DJ mixer, tuning a sound system with amps and sub-amps, and working inside Ableton with digital audio. It's all the same principles, but I teach you how to use them for mixing, specifically with Ableton effects, all stock audio stuff. This works for Live 9, Live 10, and Live 11. Comment from Scott Burke. And you also get some really cool stuff like mix templates that you can just drag your own audio into. You get a whole bunch of presets. These are all the effects racks that we use in the course. And when you're done, you'll have a folder of presets. So if you're making a track, you can just grab your bass effects rack, your drums effects rack, or whatever. And of course, you get included in the Mixitecture Discord server for track feedback. Better mixes are your money back. This is everything you get. Hands-on lessons, a whole bunch of modules, even some PDF guides that you can print out to help you remember things like the 10-step mixdown process, 8 great mix tools, the value of making pre-masters or test mixes. All these kinds of things that I talk about during track feedback are all part of this course. So if you want some help with basic mixing, that is the place to go. And it's actually advanced audio engineering techniques that I'm bringing in from the world of live sound, mixing on big sound systems, using mixing boards, having a band with 30 channels or 30 people in it. Like, this is the real stuff you use to make a music show sound amazing. We're applying it to Ableton and taking it through at a basic level, but it'll help you make your track sound pro for real. And I've been doing this stuff for like 20 years, so I know what I'm talking about. Martin's tip with the LFO on the pitch envelope so your percussion doesn't get boring. That's cool, thank you. Shephers. So there's basic mixing. I'm not going to talk about every single one of these, but essential basics of sound design is all about using Operator to work with LFOs, oscillators, ADSR envelopes, filters, everything about what a synth does. You learn it using Operator, and it allows you to use all Ableton devices at a higher level. How to sidechain your bass line. If you haven't worked with compressors deeply to get low end working together, that is a great hands-on lesson where you do sidechaining with a kick drum and a bass line to learn exactly what to set up, how to dial it in, how to hear it working, and make sure it's working properly so your low end is going to get tight. And there's some other fun sound design stuff in there about doing rhythmic pulsing compression on reverbs or synths or whatever. How to EQ your tracks is probably the most valuable course anybody should ever take. It's not hands-on lessons, it's just presets with a bunch of guides. One of my friends in town is using this course at the university level to teach a college class about frequency and tone and EQing. I wrote a document that got used at university level to help you make your mixes sound better. Everybody needs to know about frequency and EQing, how octaves and pitch work together. When you saw me working with the spectrum analyzer all day, you can see this little box. There's a frequency in hertz, and there's a MIDI note. So for example, if I put the cursor on the line 100, if you look in the little box, it says 100 hertz. It says the note G1. This is really powerful. What you do is when you're EQing your bass line, you can look at the MIDI notes, you can find out what frequency those notes are at, and then boost or cut the exact note to make your bass line even so every note sounds loud. So when you bring it into the mix, it comes in clear with the kick drum, and you don't have that problem of like, oh, I hear one of the bass notes, but then like the fourth note is too quiet, and then the harmony doesn't make sense because we can't hear that note. You can solve a ton of mix problems just by understanding the connection between music theory, the pitch of the note, where to EQ it with numbers, and how to find those on your EQ. That is so valuable. I'm ready to jump in and do a workshop on it right now. And I'm not sure if anybody's still watching, but you can get some free presets. You can join the track feedback crew. You can learn about making buildups with the project pack. All this stuff is in there on the Mixatexture member site at courses.mixatexture.com. And remember, you're helping support me to make more of these live workshops and session lessons and everything, which is what I love to do, especially now that live shows are not really happening and I'm not working as a sound man so much anymore. I can do this a lot and make a lot of lessons. So I'm here for you. Let me know if you have any questions, steve@mixatexture.com. It is Saturday. Instead of my normal bike ride, I think I'm going to cancel Restream. And that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week for a couple special events during the Christmas holiday. And have a great time. Be safe, whatever you're doing. Say hello to everybody for me. Bye.